What's up, nerds? Alan stepping in here. I wanted to announce that me and Sal are going to be attending LVLUP Expo this weekend. If you'll be attending and see us, feel free to say hi. We'll be going around interviewing people about the things they love, and we'd love the chance to get to meet you guys. Hope to see you soon. Hello, listeners, and thank you for tuning into Those Nerds Over There. This is an enthusiast podcast centered around celebrating and discussing nerd culture. We are your hosts. I'm Alan.
And I'm Sal.
And woo! The listeners won't know this, but this is, our fourth attempt at recording this?
Yeah, I have so many, little blankets around my room. Because I'm trying to stop the sound from coming in, but it's not really working.
Okay, but this is it. This is the one that we're gonna release.
Yes.
But it is for us 420, Sal.
Yes.
And it's a very special birthday for someone.
Wait, who?
It's Lucina's birthday today.
Oh, snap. No way.
It is. I'm getting a lot of good Lucina fan art on the Fire Emblem subreddits, which is...
Is she smoking a joint or something?
No. I do want those now.
She is one of the characters that are up on my waifu wall.
You have a whole wall dedicated to waifus?
Yes.
Oh my.
I've collected some art and they're all waifus and I put them up on my wall behind my TV.
All right. Well, we're going to need pics of that, Sal.
All right. I also need to acquire more art.
But no, as much as I want to do a 420 themed episode, unfortunately we're not inundated with weed culture enough.
Yeah.
But today we do have a theme, and it's Game of Thrones.
Yes, something we are very well versed in. certainly much more than marijuana. Yes.
But no, oh my goodness, season 8 came out, we both saw episode 1, and then we just knew we had to make a Game of Thrones themed episode.
Yeah, it was just too much, all the memes, the conversations, just everything. It was it is time we do this.
Apparently this first episode for season 8 was pirated about 55 million times.
Yeah, the HBO... Well, the HBO premieres of Game of Thrones always break records for pirating, actually. So,
but that's insane to me. And I don't know if HBO did this math, but apparently they're gonna lose 35% of subscriptions once Game of Thrones ends.
They're losing my subscription.
36%.
There you go.
But that's crazy. I don't just this show really I don't think I watch anything else on HBO except for Westworld, and I think this show really just made people do the thing.
Yeah. You just have to watch it. There's no no going around that. It must be watched.
So we're gonna talk about the first episode because there's so much I want to talk about, but we're also gonna go through our favorite moments from seasons 1 through 7 first. So spoilers.
Yes, spoilers for the whole entirety of Game of Thrones, except the books because we don't read.
But before we get into Game of Thrones, let's do our listener submitted nerd question. Hello.
Yes.
All right, so for first-time listeners, this is traditionally what we would call the nut jar, but I'm still getting through that. But these are listener-submitted questions. These are cool discussion questions that we, want to hear answers from you guys too. But if you have a cool question that you want to send in, feel free to send them to us on Twitter at ThoseNerdsCast or our email thosenerdscast@gmail.com. And make sure to leave some kind of social media tag if you want, so we can direct people to you. But today's question comes from my friend Martin, and he asks, favorite video game soundtrack? And you can find him on Twitter at jmartinrs11. He's a really big fan of Final Fantasy, and so he actually really likes Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
Yeah, he plays like just a butt ton of MTG Arena.
All right, I'm gonna have to play him. We'll see who's the real Magic fan.
Ooh, do they allow like spectating?
I don't think so.
Damn, because I want to see that match.
I'm probably gonna get wrecked, but we'll see. Tune in next time.
But Sal, what's your favorite video game soundtrack?
All right, so the problem with me and soundtracks is I kind of just got into video game soundtracks recently, like within the last year or so, because I don't know, video game soundtracks are kind of just a backdrop for me, and I never really appreciated them. And that was until one of my friends kind of introduced me to how great they can be. So
Better late than never.
So two pop up into my mind like right away, and that would be Fire Emblem, Shadows of Valentia.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Fire Emblem Echoes. So I think that's one of the most impactful soundtracks I've listened to, because people always talk about, oh, when you hear this song, it like brings nostalgia and you're back in the game. And I never really felt that. But when I hear Echoes music, I'm like, oh, I remember this. I was there.
The song that, okay, so like, you know how at the end of every Fire Emblem game, it's like, they play dramatic music and all your units say something?
Yeah.
The one from Echoes was like the one that gave me the most chills. Right? Because like the dramatic orchestral music starts playing, and the moment you hover over on your characters, they like give their end speech.
It's so good.
And I just remember my favorite was Claire's.
Oh yeah, I love Claire to death, and I was sad she didn't end up with Om, but that's beside the point.
And then what's the second soundtrack?
The second one is for Octopath Traveler.
Whoa, did you actually end up playing that?
No, I didn't. But my friend showed me the soundtrack, and I love it to death, even though I've never played the game. I really should go and play it because it's totally up my alley. But the soundtrack is so great. It has these very because the game is very character based, and so each character has like a theme, and their themes are like very distinct. And one in particular is Ophelia's theme, and she's the cleric, and it's just this very soothing, kind of like church, like entering a church-esque kind of sound, and I just love it. And I wish I knew more like terms for music and stuff, but it's hard to describe music for me.
No, I feel it's just like, God, I wish I knew anything more about art or music or like techniques in them.
Yeah. And then I don't think there's not many 8-bit soundtracks that I know of that come to mind, but 8-bit I've appreciated more recently. So
anything in particular stand out?
No, not that I know. Well, Celeste, but I think that one I don't know what bit rate that is.
I don't know if it counts as 8-bit, but have you heard the soundtracks to Undertale and Deltarune?
I have. Those count as 8-bit?
I don't know, but
oh. Yeah, see.
I mean, I think that's close, right?
Yeah, that style though, like 8, 16, 32, just the bits.
The bits.
The bit music. But what about you, Alan?
My favorite soundtrack. I think this is a little tough for me because typically when I play a game, I like immediately turn off all the sounds and the music.
Oof.
Yeah. But
I was gonna say, what about Pokemon? That just came to mind.
Oh yeah, no, I turn off that stuff like pretty quick.
I see.
But I do have a favorite soundtrack though.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard any of the Persona music.
Ooh, I have.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Joker just came out for the Switch, right? And like I'm just obsessed with playing on the Joker stage and just listening to the Persona music they ported into the game.
Nice.
But I didn't know they were going to take music for Persona 3 and Persona 4 too. And I'm just like, all the good music is here.
Yeah, that's very stylized.
I think like one of the coolest things was like between Personas 3, 4, and 5, like they all have different moods in the music they do. Like Persona 3, they really went for like a more somber kind of sad, but a lot of like hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
And then when we made it to Persona 4, it became a lot more poppy, which kind of reflects all these color schemes they've done. Like Persona 3's main color was blue, and then Persona 4 became yellow. And then we got to Persona 5, which is red, and they do a lot more like lo-fi, jazzy kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's very jazzy.
It's like, I love it so much. Like that's the kind of music like I'll go to YouTube and I'll query it, and I'm like, oh, Persona 5, what was it? Get Up, whatever the name of the song is. I should know better.
Yeah, I should know better too. But they did their own rendition of one of the songs for Smash. I don't know the name, but do you enjoy that one?
Their own rendition for Smash. I'm actually gonna open up my Switch real quick. I don't know if it's like a remix or what. I didn't realize that they did their own remix.
Oh yeah, they do it for a lot of soundtracks or tracks in
But yeah, like Persona is kind of the only like whole soundtrack that I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'll like listen to bits and pieces from other soundtracks. Like, was it Don't Speak Her Name from Fire Emblem Awakening? That's great. I think I might be part of the people that still isn't tired of Azura's song.
You are the ocean's gray waves.
Oh, I got super into listening to the Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns like orchestral music. I don't know why that one came out of nowhere. But yeah, like favorite soundtrack, definitely a Persona. And like, I don't know, Persona's so crazy to me. It's like, it's got this amazing soundtrack and the gameplay and the story are like on point. Like when it was nominated for Game of the Year along with like Breath of the Wild and God of War, I'm just like, oh my goodness, it totally deserves to be up there.
So I think the song is Beneath the Mask.
Beneath the Mask. Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know how the original sounds, but I really enjoy the Smash Ultimate. So
I'm trying to listen for the difference. Oh yeah. So, dang, I like this remix. Yeah, I think the original had less drums during the vocals.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
music.
I've never been able to actually like play a Persona game though, which is like, I'm sad about that because I've always been on PlayStation consoles.
Yeah, dang PlayStation.
We'd love to get recommendations now for soundtracks we should check out because we're both kind of new into this realm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hit us up with those soundtrack recommendations.
Yeah, and let us know what your favorite soundtrack is.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, Game of Thrones. So we made a list of like our favorite deaths and scenes and characters and stuff. And we did kind of the same thing for Marvel, and this list was so much harder to make.
I think it's because like we're so much more emotionally invested into Game of Thrones.
Right.
And I remember when we were having to pick things like favorite character, I'm just like, oh no, there's like, I ended up breaking it up into my favorite living character, my favorite dead character.
Oh, that's a good. I couldn't do it. I narrowed it down to like 5 characters.
Nice. No, it's so hard though. There's like, you miss so many people and you're rooting for so many people.
Yeah, it's so difficult. And the show does such a good job of making you love and hate characters, even your favorite characters.
Yeah.
So
Oh my goodness.
It's just like, I don't know who is the best.
Luckily we don't have to debate best. But before we get into our favorite stuff, Sal, how did you get into Game of Thrones to begin with?
All right, so I think I'm one of the few people that got into the Game of Thrones as soon as it started. I don't know if people like read the book and they're like, oh man, the show's coming on. I just happened upon it because I don't know if I was watching like True Blood or something on HBO, and I seen like a commercial, but something led me to the premiere. And so I watched it on the premiere day and I was just enthralled. Like I knew it was going to be good. And that I'm pretty sure that was during my senior year of high school. Like that tells you how old this show's been running for so long now, even though it doesn't seem like it.
I mean,
But
it premiered in 2011.
yeah. And so I remember watching it, and the next day I was actually in journalism class. I wrote an article about it.
Whoa.
And yeah, and I was saying how everyone should watch it, and this is probably going to be the next big thing. Little did I know it would be the next big thing, and I so wish I have that like article to go look back on. So yeah, I got into it right from the start. I was one of the OGs.
Dang, yeah, you were first wave.
Yeah. What about you?
So I got into it in the middle of season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard about it I was in my physics class with one of my friends, and and that physics class was nonsense, so all we ever did was just talk about media. And she told me about Game of Thrones and how, like, oh, I have to watch it, and she was really into, like, Khal Drogo and Daenerys at the time and talking about the relationship. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And I mean, I did, and after I finished watching that first episode, I knew I was going to love the show, right? Because it just ends with Jaime pushing a kid off a tower.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy crap.
It's probably one of the best done pilots on television.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much. It does such a good job of setting up a world and all the characters involved in such a short amount of time, even though it's like an hour episode, but like you feel like you know so much and you're invested in so much, like right at the beginning.
And okay, they know. That's one of my favorite things about the show, though, is like they know how invested you are, but they don't really care. They'll like do away with everything you love like that.
Yeah, it's great. Rip my heart out.
I do think like is because of Game of Thrones that kind of has trained us to be less precious with like characters.
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
No?
I still will hold on to my characters very firmly, but it definitely gives you a more weary sense of, oh, my favorite character can probably not survive this.
Well, never mind then, because like I've now gone into shows because of Game of Thrones where you're like, okay, everyone is fair game.
Oh, yeah, I don't do that.
Oh my goodness.
You know, I like the joy of having my heart ripped out.
Oh, what a joy.
Fun.
Sorry, I just wanted to share another quick story of like, you know how
Please.
like once you're in a show and you're trying to get other people into a show?
Uh-huh.
So I tried to get my sister into watching Game of Thrones, and, you know, I'm explaining to her, oh, it's this, like, medieval drama about, like, kingdoms and, like, you know, kings and warfare and whatever, and trying to get her into the show, right? And I'm watching the episode at the same time, but it's the scene where Roz is at Littlefinger's brothel, and she's just, like, fisting the other prostitute.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like this, and the face my sister made me as I was like, trying to get her into the show, and the scene that was playing in the background, I'm just like, okay, this is probably the worst combo I could have done.
Oh man, it's like that's hilarious. It's like that character in SpongeBob where he's like, I can explain. Oh man, that's so hilarious because I've tried so hard because your sister eventually got into it, right?
Oh yeah, despite that weird introduction to the show, she's just like as much of a fan as I am now.
Yeah, so I've tried so hard to get my cousin to get into this show, and he will not.
What? Isn't he?
Yeah.
He likes writing, right?
He does!
So how does he not like the show?
I don't know. I think it's just a popularity thing, and he just doesn't want to be a part of it. I have no idea, but when he does walk in, like on me watching the show, he'll walk in on like some weird sex scene or something. So that doesn't help, but I keep telling him like the writing, if anything, go in for the writing because that's what he would latch onto, but he hasn't bitten the bait yet. But
how do you make the sound of eyes rolling?
right.
So okay, then what's your favorite character then, Sal? I want to know.
All right, so This one's... I think I'm gonna go... So, like I said, I narrowed it down to 5 people, right?
Right. No, I totally get that. I've got some runner-ups and stuff, too.
And so I think I'm gonna just do what you did, because a lot of these characters are dead. So I think I'm just gonna do what you did and just do an alive character, a dead character, and then I'll share my runner-ups. So my favorite alive character, I'm just gonna put as Arya Stark.
Woo! That's also mine.
Yeah, she has always been like this underdog of the show, right? And you just know she's destined for great things, and you just watching her journey of everything she's been through and getting to the point she's at now. And I don't know where she's gonna go from here, but I'm so excited to see what happens. So, and then my favorite dead character, it's hard, but I think I'm gonna go with Tommen.
Tommen, really?
Yeah, he's actually the only person I wanted to be on the throne. So I thought he was a really sweet, gentle, good king. And I miss him, and his death was very sad. So
it was very sad. Like, I think back to Tommen's death, and it was just so sad because he watched the Sept blow up, and I'm just like, what is Cersei thinking, right?
Yeah, you knew the love of your life and everything you've worked for just like vanishes in an instant by the hands of your mother, a person you love very much as well, and like, what do you do? And he decided to kill himself. And I mean, it's understandable, through his perspective, but it's so heartbreaking. So what are yours? I'll mention my runner-ups after you share who your favorites are.
Okay. My favorite living is Arya, also. Dude, like,
yes.
Arya's just a complete badass. Like, even from the beginning, it's not the same as like Sansa, who like has to learn to like be smarter than everyone and be stronger, right?
Right.
Like, Arya's just always been like that, but everyone just doesn't see that in her except for Jon.
Yeah.
And then you just watch her storyline becoming like a dreamer to a warrior. I'm just like, that was so incredible. And there's just so many incredible scenes with her that Macy Williams just like kills it,
Mm-hmm. That's a good representation of who she is. Like, she knows she's a badass, and it's her in the beginning knowing it, and then at the end, everyone else knowing it.
Yeah. Oh, was it after they killed like Littlefinger and Sansa and Arya are standing on the wall and they both recognize like how strong they both are? I'm just like, yes!
Yeah, that scene is just everything.
And then my favorite dead character that I still cry about in my thoughts is Ygritte.
Of course.
Oh my goodness. I loved Ygritte so much. Like, she was introduced and she was an archer, and I love archery so much that immediately was like, latch on to her. But like, and then her beautiful red hair, I think ginger hair is amazing. But like, her character, she's one of the free folk, but what mattered more to her was like her relationship, right? Like, the moment Jon Snow was about to turn, right, she was ready to leave too.
Yeah.
Like, she's ride or die. That's amazing.
Yeah, she was man. I don't know what else to say about her except she was great in just every aspect.
She was great, and that little shit.
Yeah, I know. He got his comeuppance.
Ollie.
Yeah. I mean, as bad as this sounds, I'm kind of glad she died when she did, because you have nothing but love for her, right? And I think if she kind of went on, she probably would have ended up doing something bad for you to hate her. But, I mean, I guess we'll never know.
Only the good die young and whatnot.
Exactly.
All right. Who didn't quite cut it for you?
All right, so the people that didn't quite cut it, Daenerys, very close to being my favorite, but she's kind of done some things where I don't know about her character that much anymore.
Yeah, recently, like, you know, in the beginning she was very compassionate and whatnot, but now she just seems ruthless, which isn't bad, but also maybe a little more petulant.
Yeah, I think her whole story arc is kind of like started and concluded already, and now they kind of don't know what to do with her. So I'm not sure. I mean, this goes to like what I think should happen. I think a good character beat for her would kind of be like her working for the Iron Throne this whole time and then end up realizing she doesn't need it or doesn't want it anymore.
Ooh.
I think that would be very interesting, but I mean, you know. The other two people, Ygritte, because I just love her, and Marjorie.
Whoa.
Yeah, I really loved her. She was great. I thought she was a good match for Tormund, even though she was way older, and she felt like kind of like a Cersei if Cersei was a good person.
Right? I was like, Marjorie was in it for herself, but she never seemed evil.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are my runner-ups. What about you?
My runner for my alive character, very close second, was Lyanna Mormont.
Okay.
And I think, like, you know, she's kind of the same as Arya, right? This little badass. And I think what really kind of not makes her my favorite is, like, less screen time and development.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Like, there's that scene where they're all in the Winterfell Hall, and she's, like, the first person to speak up and put all these older men to shame. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and they're put to shame, too, because they don't say anything. They're like, oh, man.
And then for my favorite dead runner-ups, these are like, I had like a lot of them, but we had Hodor, obviously, sweet, gentle giant.
Okay.
I do miss Pip and Gren. Back when Jon, Sam, Pip, and Gren were at the wall, you know, it was just like their group, and it was in this like horribly cold place. Like they had each other, and it was this nice, warm like moments.
You're right.
Poor little Shireen.
Shireen was
She was
Stannis?
Stannis' daughter who was burned at this burn.
Yeah.
She wanted so badly to help her dad. It was so sweet.
Oh man, that death was also really tough.
Dude, like there are screams in my life that I remember because they reverberate in my bones. And hers, like, they're still in there. I can feel it in my bones.
Oof. Yeah.
And then you mentioned Marjorie, but I consider Olenna as one of my favorites.
Oh, who is that?
Her grandmother.
Oh, that's her name?
Yeah, Olenna.
All right. I just think what, Lady Tyrell or whatever.
Yeah, but like, you know, she was smart like Marjorie, but she had that like the years of wisdom on her.
Oh yeah, she was pretty great.
And you know, she orchestrated Joffrey's death.
Yeah, she was like the dude that was the High Scepter, the old guy.
The gross one?
Yes. The dude that like acted like he was very old and weak but wasn't.
Yeah, the High Sept, right?
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page, but she was very much like that, except way more competent. So,
and also less gross. I did not like him.
Yeah, well, but she had her hand in everything, but pretended as if she was kind of this old woman, you know?
Yeah.
So,
that's like
good.
I know you don't watch Walking Dead, but she's kind of like Carol.
Yeah, don't know, but her death too was really great, where she was like, well, I'm going to die, but not before I like make you feel totally miserable and die on my own terms. That was pretty great. She was a good character too.
So we've lost so many good characters.
At least we still got good characters. Speaking of death, let's move on to favorite deaths.
Okay.
So this one was really hard for me too, because I didn't know whether or not to pick like a satisfying, impactful, or just creative death. So I went with a satisfying death. I think the death that I thought was most satisfying was Stannis' death.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I think he was kind of like, I knew he was gonna die. Like, everyone kind of knew he was gonna die because he was just totally working like this whole black magic witchcraft thing, and his advisor, was it Davos?
Yeah, well, Davos and Melisandre, but
Yeah, not her. But Davos, like, constantly telling him, like, this isn't the way, and then it finally meaning something, and then, what's her name?
Brienne?
Brienne finally, like, getting the revenge of killing him. I thought that was just, like, so satisfying, and he deserved to die after doing that to his daughter anyway, so...
Oh, man. I kind of forgot about Stannis' death, actually.
Oh. Well, so, what about you?
So I also went with, like, very satisfying death.
Nice.
And I went with Ramsay.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Right? It's just, like, ever since you see him first on screen with, like, torturing Theon, right? Like, never before did I want to see a character die so much. This complete psychopath of a character who gets away with killing so many people. Like, he got away with killing Osha and Rickon, and it was infuriating.
Yeah, he was one of those love to hate characters.
Yeah, oh my god. Ewan Rayon did an amazing job as Ramsay. But like that moment you see like him being eaten by his own dogs.
Yeah, that was
so satisfying.
It was satisfying, but I felt bad too. I was like, I don't know, because he was definitely just the worst kind of person, but I actually liked him because I thought he was a better, like, Joffrey. Because I wanted Joffrey to die the whole time, but I didn't really want Ramsay to die the whole time. So, but, you know, because I didn't like Theon, so I was like, well, you had it coming. But then, like, everything with Sansa and stuff, and I was like, all right, you need to die.
Yeah, everything he did to Sansa. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And then I actually had a runner-up for this, too. It was Littlefinger's death.
Yep. That's a runner-up for me as well.
You know, Littlefinger was that for me, like, my love-to-hate character.
Uh-huh.
I think Littlefinger's such an amazing villain. Everything in the show that happened was basically because of him, right? And he's been plotting this entire time.
Yeah.
But then it eventually got out of his hand. Like, the whole war and everything became much bigger than him, and he thought he could control it, but he couldn't. And he ended up dying for his hubris.
Yeah. His death, like, signaled the apex of Sansa's character, like her full evolution, and I thought it was just a very it was a good death, and it was a good scene. People did not like him dying, though. Like, Twitter went crazy with his death.
Like, specifically Littlefinger dying, or the way he died?
Yeah, Littlefinger dying, I believe. Some people probably didn't like the way he died, but I thought it was a good, like, he needed to die for Sansa to become this person. So I thought his death was well placed, but definitely just him dying in general, because he seems so untouchable, right?
I'm definitely gonna miss those conversations between him and Varys.
Yeah, him and anybody, but yeah, him and Varys definitely. What's his name? Oh God, there's so many names to remember. Tyrion, sorry. I don't know why I would forget Tyrion. I'm surprised he's not a runner-up, but Tyrion kind of takes the place of Littlefinger in that kind of regard with Varys. So
was it after Tyrion joined up with Daenerys, I really started kind of becoming less interested in his character?
Yeah, he's kind of taking a back seat, though. That's kind of why.
Right. Yeah, because he's taking a back seat, but like Tyrion's great still.
Yeah.
On the topic of death, I have a story about a question I got to ask you and Rayon.
Okay.
So I went to Con of Thrones like when it first opened up. And I had the opportunity to ask you and Rayon about, like, oh, you know, you played Ramsay. What do you recall what your favorite death, like, or kill that you did was?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he was thrown aback by the question for a bit, because
I mean, yeah.
But he said it was Rickon.
Ah, yeah.
He liked how, like, strategic it was. It was like trying to draw Jon out into the battlefield and like end it there. I'm like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah, Rickon's death is a good one too. That's so cool that you got to meet him and do that. He's a great guy, and I loved him in Misfits too.
Yeah, I mean I think that's where we both saw him too, right?
Yeah. Any runner-ups for death?
I mean Littlefinger was mine.
Oh yeah, right. So my runner-up was Rob.
Oh,
the Red Wedding.
no.
I mean, Ned Stark's death was definitely like, oh crap, it was the mark of anybody could die. But when Rob died, I was like, oh, just anybody can die, and they can do it however they want.
Oh, it's like, especially about like Ned Stark's, right? Like, you watch the sword cut through his neck.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So good. So good. Why do these deaths mean so much?
I want to know what your favorite house is, Sal.
All right, so I went back and forth with house because I kind of jump around. I'm like, oh, I like this house. Oh, I like this house. And I kind of just ended up being like what they stand for. And so I went with the Lannisters.
Whoa, you like the rich people.
Right. I don't really care about the characters except Tyrion, and I actually really enjoyed Tywin, but like what they stand for, like, go on.
I was thinking like Charles Dance as Tywin, like holy shit.
Yeah, I loved his character.
His presence as Tywin, like I legitimately was afraid of him at times.
Yeah, and he had this weird way about him where like he didn't seem threatening, but he seemed like whenever he walked in a room or was talking to somebody, he was super threatening. It was weird. So, yeah, I loved him. And I mean, his death was also a very pivotal moment for character development. So, but them, like a Lannister, always pays their debts, and kind of their whole thing about legacy. I really like that about the Lannisters. So, I at first I was gonna go with like the Starks, but their whole kind of like pride kind of gets in the way of me liking them so much. Like the whole North in general are kind of just like so stubborn. It kind of frustrates me.
Yeah,
and
like they're the internal fighting that's going on right now is a little irritating.
Yeah, and then the Targaryens are kind of terrible people when you think about it. Like even Daenerys is kind of going that direction, but so and then a lot of the other houses are kind of dead now, so
Yeah, they really are kind of dead now.
But what is your favorite house?
I also jump around, and mine are kind of dead houses now, so it's kind of favorite kind of memory of them.
Yeah.
So the first one was House Aaron, now run by, was it Robin? Little breastfeeding
terrible Robin.
Yeah, but I mean, before that, like, their whole motto is as high as honor, and, like, John Aaron, who was the patriarch of the house before,
yeah,
super honorable dude who raised both Robert and Ned.
Yeah.
And, like, his death was, like, the instigating factor for the entire show.
You're right. I just hated, I don't like Robin, and then I hated his mother,
Liza,
there you go. So, it kind of leaves a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah, they were the remnants of House Aaron.
Yeah.
But then the second one, House Martell, which Dorne is just a beautiful place.
Dorne is beautiful.
And like the whole, like them fighting with spears, like their whole fighting style, you had the Sand Snakes using spears, whips, and daggers, and then Oberon's like fighting kind of looks like dancing. It's just, that culture seems so great. And their house motto is unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
It's good.
Yeah, I don't like the main houses that are left. I'm not a big fan of either.
Yeah, the Tyrells, in terms of like style, they're very like flowery and proper. I like that.
I feel like part of their whole thing is like they look like that on the outside, but they're like different on the inside, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, that felt like fake.
Fake. Fair enough. So, favorite scene. Going back to deaths, because I think deaths are like one of the most impactful scenes. If I wasn't choosing a death, I would just say the Battle of the Bastards. Like that whole that whole thing was great. But for a particular scene, Hodor's death and realizing like his whole backstory and everything, that scene is so good.
I have chills now remembering.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just the realization of what's happening and the impact it has on the entire show. Oh my God. It's so good.
There's these scenes that you mentioned, like they're so good that they can elicit this visceral sensation. Like you mentioned the Battle of the Bastards, and there's that scene where the Boltons have all the people surrounded and they've toppled on top of Jon and he's gasping to try and get out and get air, right?
Yeah, he's just drowning.
Like that, when I was watching I could feel that like, oh my God, I can't breathe.
Yeah. Oh man, the cinematography of this show is so good. What about you?
My favorite scene also involving death. But it's the scene where Arya kills all the Freys.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Right? Like, when I think about how the episode opens up, you're inside the Frey home, everyone's gathered up for dinner, and you see Walder Frey sitting up there, and you're like, wait, what's going on? We just saw him die in the previous episode, right?
Yeah.
And the way, like, it opens up and it doesn't immediately click for you, but then when it does, my mouth just dropped open. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's another one of those kind of satisfying deaths.
Yes. You just wait for the entire room to die from the poison.
Yeah, and then just Arya like pulling back the mask.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene. I don't have a runner-up. Just that scene, I think was perfect.
Yeah, I didn't pick a runner-up really either because I was like Hodor, definitely. But
he's a DJ in real life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Have you seen the picture of the Mountain and his girlfriend?
No.
They're like just sitting on a bench and he's holding her hand or whatever, and just like the size comparison. I'm just oh my goodness.
He's like 7'2" or something.
He is a mountain. But speaking of Arya, so relationships, this one was really hard, but my favorite relationship goes to Arya and the Hound.
Oh, Sal. Sal.
Yeah.
Mine's the same.
Oh, snap. That's so great.
No, it's just like when you watch them travel around, they're both these like people. They've lost everything and they're bickering at each other, but you watch them grow as friends, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And their reunion.
Oh my. Like, we're going to get to the reunion in a second.
Yeah, but it's just it's like this wholesome relationship, even though it's kind of not. I don't really know how else to describe it. But also, because I'm pretty sure the Hound was on Arya's list, right?
Yeah, no, he was, because in the first few episodes, the Hound killed her friend. Yeah,
and it's just this development of her kind of realizing what kind of person he is. So, and not really wanting to kill him. Like, she left him there to die, but she didn't want it to be by her hands, you know?
Right, like, and I don't think she wanted him to die, like, at all.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't on her list anymore.
The relationship's great. I love it.
One of my favorite fan arts people were doing was, like, people were drawing Calvin and Hobbes, except Arya was Calvin and Hobbes was the Hound. If I had a runner-up for this, it would also be Arya and Brienne.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think Arya has this amazing dynamic with people. And for Brienne, they're both kind of like this, the same. They're these women that wanted to be warriors.
Yeah. And then their little fight scene together was really awesome.
That was amazingly choreographed.
My runner-up is probably Jon and Ygritte.
The cave.
Yeah, the cave. And they kind of do that whole thing with Daenerys, too. And I was just like, you didn't have to do this.
Yeah, that felt like a spit on that relation. I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah.
I think lastly, this one's the most important. Who do you want on the Iron Throne, Sal?
So, short answer, no one. Oh. I don't think there's anybody left I want to sit on that throne. So I'm just gonna go and say Jon, because I mentioned how I kind of want Daenerys to realize she doesn't really want the throne anymore. And I mean, Sansa's kind of terrifying now, so I don't want her on the throne. I know Arya wouldn't want the throne. And so that kind of only leaves Jon, because who else is gonna sit on it that makes sense? But I mean, it doesn't have to make sense, but I kind of want it to.
It was like, no, I get what you're saying. Like, my immediate impulse when I was trying to think about this question was like, I feel like they should switch from a monarchy to more like a council kind of thing, right?
Right.
But, you know, that's like, well, I'm breaking away from the question.
That would be an interesting ending. I would like that.
I mostly thought of that, mostly because I wanted Varys to have some level of control over politics.
I mean, he definitely would be on the small council, whoever sits on the throne, though, right?
Right, but like that's not exactly like you have actual means to do something, I guess.
That's fair.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Varys is gonna die, so
struggle.
Yeah, but I ended up saying Jon and Daenerys.
Okay. You want them to rule together?
I do. I mean, I'm not a big fan of
incest.
Yes, that or them as a couple. But like, if we're talking about the people who are left, like you're saying, Sansa's kind of scary now. When she killed Ramsay and Ramsay said, you know, I'll always be a part of you, or right?
Uh-huh.
Like, he wasn't wrong. She's pretty scary now.
Yeah.
And, you know, Cersei's scary. Euron's a maniac.
Mm-hmm. The Night King, he's a bad guy.
So then, like, I think about, like, Jon and Dany. Like, Jon, you know, he's proven he's a good leader. He doesn't ask for it, but he always thinks about his people. He has Ned Stark's honor. And Daenerys, you know, despite her recent, like, showings of, like, being a little like, we know that she's still a very compassionate person inside.
You're right.
And they both already know about, like, the burden of leadership.
Right. Yeah, that would be good. Like, it doesn't have to be a romantic thing. Like,
no,
just them sharing the throne.
Yeah, and just, like, I think they can balance each other out in terms of, like, you know, what things they need to improve on.
Yeah. And having that balance, too, because the queen usually, if there's a king and queen, the queen usually doesn't have much power. So...
like, no. But although that's, like, one thing that's kind of cool about this show, right? Like, it's not so much... power is power. Cersei said that so much in the first season, right? It didn't matter that people were male or female.
Yeah. So, I mean, another moment I want to bring up, this is kind of why I don't want Daenerys to be on the throne, and I want her ending to be the way I said it, was because when... what's Jon's friend's name?
Sam?
Sam. When Sam told Jon who he really was, and then
hold on. Season 8 spoilers, folks.
Oh yeah, season 8 spoilers. Sorry. When Sam told Jon who he really was, and he said, "You gave up your throne for your people," would Daenerys do the same? Like that's what kind of cemented where I think Jon deserves the throne more than she does, because I don't think she would give it up.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, it seems like she feels entitled to it, right?
Yeah, because she is this caring person, but at the same time she wants it like so bad. Like how much does she care for her people, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you see her, like, when you saw her burn up Sam's relatives.
Yeah.
It really didn't, like, add, what's the right word here? Reasons for the Westerosi to believe in her.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, but before we start discussing season 8, we wanted to put a promo here for Livestream for the Cure. It's this amazing charity livestream being hosted by the guys at the Epic Film Guys podcast, but we'll let you hear it from their mouths.
Justin, can you believe it's almost time?
Time for what?
The 2019 live stream for The Cure. This is our 3rd year hosting this amazing event, with every single cent going toward cancer research.
The Cancer Research Institute funds research into immunotherapy to create a future immune to all forms of cancer.
And this amazing nonprofit organization is rated over 92% by charitynavigator.org and puts 88 cents of every dollar toward cancer research.
Last year, thanks to an amazing team of collaborators, fans, supporters, and listeners, we raised over $5,000 in 30 hours on the air.
And this year, with your help, we're going for our biggest goal yet.
Tune in May 17th to the 19th on twitch.tv/epicfilmguys for 40 hours of amazing content as we try to reach $7,500.
And for more information or to find out how you can become a part of the event, please visit www.livestreamforthecure.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Oh, Sal, season 8, episode 1.
1. The shortest of all the episodes that are to come, too.
Oh my goodness. Opening scene, we see Daenerys's and Jon's like people returning from King's Landing.
Mm-hmm.
No words in this scene, I love it because it's that scene like no words, but it's powerful, right?
Right. And it's powerful in a way because in contrast, so this is the first episode of season 8, and then I believe it's the first episode of season 1 where the same kind of thing happened with when the king rode into Winterfell for the first time and Arya had the position of the little boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so but now you see Daenerys and Jon in power, and it's like this where we started and where we've come. So good.
And that like with Arya now in the crowd, and you see her facial reaction with the people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Like she sees Jon and she smiles, and it's like, but it's also like he's with Daenerys, and so she's worried.
Yeah.
But then when she sees the Hound come in and also Gendry.
Yeah, I completely I remember asking you what happened to Gendry at one point because I was like, where does this dude go? And then he showed up and I was like, oh yeah, he's a character.
Yeah, no, he really just like pops back in. We don't get to know anything about he made it back to King's Landing.
Yeah, and thinking about it, like how long ago has it been since Arya last seen him? So that was really nice to see.
One scene with like the whole Winterfell stuff that I'm just like, how could they not do this? Was they didn't have Jorah talk to Lyanna at all.
Lyanna
Mormont.
Why would he?
I'm pretty sure she's his niece.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Thank you.
I did not eat that. That did not cross my mind whatsoever.
I wanted so badly to see that scene.
Wow. Okay. Maybe later down the road they'll address something.
Hopefully, like, part of Jorah's story for so long was that he was exiled from his family because he was a slaver. And I'm just like, now he's back in the north.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I need this in my life now.
Oh, and then another scene that was missing. Where was Podrick?
I mean,
We got to see Tyrion, we got to see Bronn. Where's Podrick?
yeah, I don't know. Probably somewhere in King's Landing. I don't... When was the last time we seen Podrick?
Well, okay, so he was actually at the meeting in King's Landing when they brought the White, but prior to that, he was following Brienne, and he should still be with Brienne.
You're right, he was following Brienne. But I don't...
Yeah, where is he, please?
Yeah, I don't... He's another character where I'm like, he just kind of pops in and out. Can we talk about Jon riding the dragon?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait, what did you want to talk about it? Because there's something, like, weird I want to talk about it after.
I mean, first of all, I think the weird part is when they're kissing. Is that what you want to talk about?
Okay, yeah, that's the weird fucking... What the fuck? What was that?
I don't know. People have memed that and put, like, other people's face on the dragon. Oh, man. Like, people put, Bran's face on the dragon.
Wait, Bran.
Oh, man, that's great.
No, but, like, it's... Okay, but here's the weirdest part, like... She named her dragon children after the people in her life. One is named after Rhaegar. One is named after, was it his brother, Viserion is? And then one was named after Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
And then she starts making out with this dude in front of which is essentially her husband reincarnate.
Right? That just, oh man. That's but the whole scene of him riding the dragon, and even a little bit of that part, but it was so weird that it kind of fell into the back of my mind. I think the dragons know he's a Targaryen.
Oh, definitely. Because, like, that's the whole thing with the Targaryens, right? They, like, the dragons have a special bond with them, right?
Yeah. And so that I actually like that, and I doubt this is gonna happen, but to have like one of them kind of side with Jon if something bad happens would be so interesting.
Oh my, you mean like like the live dragons versus dragons?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, something goes down where Jon's like, I'm the king or whatever. And Daenerys is like, I'm not having that. And she calls her dragon. But then, like, the other dragon, like, stands up for Jon.
Oh, dang.
That would be... Yeah, that would... Oh, my God. Just thinking about that.
Like, what you're proposing is like a Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, like, Battle of the Five Armies or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be this whole war, but just this scene of this dragon... like standing up for Jon, and then maybe it's settling down because we can't have a war because then everyone's just gonna die and then no one's gonna be able to survive the White Walkers.
But no, that was it. The whole dragon riding scene, like, you know, that was gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And we get to see these like nice sweeping shots of Winterfell for once instead of just the castle.
Yeah,
and the weirwood tree.
Yeah, that was really nice. It gives you a more sense of home, I guess. You're there because a lot of places in Westeros in general, you have these like scenes of people in these certain points, but you don't get a feel of what it's like to actually be there.
And also like the scale of things, because if you look on a map of Westeros, the North is supposed to be the largest kingdom, basically,
right,
of Westeros.
And it doesn't really feel that way, right?
Yeah, no, but like I think that dragon ride helps with that kind of stuff, like being there, really.
Yeah.
So then the scene that is like the one I was anticipating so much was when Arya reunited with the Hound and Gendry and actually talked to them.
Yeah. I actually did not think we would get it in this episode because we seen them have the exchange kind of at the beginning. So I was like, they're not going to do this to me, are they?
No, but they did. And the line, like, between the Hound and Arya, which, you know, he just says, "You're a cold little bitch, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And that seems, like, rude in any other context, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's, like, them being warm to each other. Like, oh, but you didn't die. Or it's like, I mugged you first before I left you to die.
Yeah. And because it's just this exchange of respect between them.
Yeah, there it is. Respect.
Yeah. And I love that because, like, their whole dynamic was always, like, pushing one side to the other. But now they've gotten this far. They both lived. And it's like, I respect you for that.
Oh my goodness, when Euron returned with the Golden Company.
Oh, with the boy?
Huh? Euron?
That's when they went...
Euron Greyjoy, the crazy person?
Oh, no, I'm thinking of someone else.
So Euron Greyjoy gets back from Essos with the Golden Company for Cersei, and I think the funny part was, like, Cersei's like, "Oh, I heard you have elephants."
Oh, yes, okay.
And then that's like, that seems like a very meta joke where, like, she's like, "Oh, I wish I could have seen the elephants," and it's just like, "Oh, we couldn't afford the CGI for the elephants."
They can afford it.
And then, but dude, the crazy line that she gives, it's like, to Euron, it's like, "If you want a whore, go buy her. If you want a queen, earn her." I'm like, holy shit, that's powerful.
I mean, it was powerful until they slept together like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, and then I freaked out and was like, what?
Why? I mean, I get it. Like, she definitely knew, if I don't do this, then what do I have?
Right, but I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. That happened.
Yeah, so...
Like, I was almost certain she was gonna kill him before that ever happened.
Yeah, and I think she thought so too, which is the funny part. That she kind of... She's like, I can't. I need him. I have nobody right now.
She really does. She has no one, and she even sent Bronn to kill Jaime.
Yeah, she's the Mad King again.
She is.
And then speaking of Jaime, oh man, I already know I'm gonna feel so bad for him in the next episode, but
because of how the first episode ended.
No, just him being there, because he's the Kingslayer. Daenerys is there. She's probably not going to be happy about that. And just everyone that hates him in general is everyone that hates him is in Winterfell.
Yeah, the only person that's probably might even defend him might be Tyrion, but people like Sansa showed that she's not into him anymore.
Yeah. So, but just that end scene of him when Bran was like, I'm waiting for an old friend, and then you realizing it was him.
Fucking creep.
I know. Freaking Bran.
He stood out in the cold overnight waiting for Jaime just to jump scare his ass.
He's the three-eyed raven, okay? But just because if you think about it, Jaime hasn't seen him since he pushed him off that ledge.
Yeah.
It's been that long. Oh, man. So that was great. I loved every second of that. And I'm sorry for saying that was great. I loved it. But
no,
this whole show.
Don't apologize for that.
I can't say it enough times.
Dude, and then the preview for the next episode, I did not expect them to go straight into the War for the Night or whatever, the War for the Dawn.
I didn't really see the preview, so.
Oh, dude, the fighting starts next episode.
Snap. Oh, God. We're just jumping right into it.
Yeah, like, no time to brace yourself. We're going right into it. People are gonna start dying.
So, one more scene I want to mention is something I actually seen someone mention on Twitter.
Ooh.
So, when Jon goes down to the crypt to say a prayer to his father or whatever, someone brought up when Ned last seen him, he said, the next time I see you, I'll tell you about your mother.
Oh my God.
And that's when he figured out about his mother.
Oh my God. The background visual details.
Oh my God. Isn't that just like mind flippy?
Dude, that's some fucking attention to detail. But,
yeah. So good. And we're just gonna it's gonna be a bittersweet moment when the show ends.
Oh, when the show ends, we're doing like a series like recap or whatever. Like, I ain't letting this die.
It will live on in our hearts.
All right, that is us getting excited about Game of Thrones Season 8. Thank you so much for enthusing with us. I'm not gonna apologize for like the enthusiasm. I don't know why I'm saying this, but God, I'm so excited, and I hope like you can share in that excitement with us.
Yeah, and if you've never seen Game of Thrones, just get it from our excitement. Like, go watch it. It's so good.
But outside of Game of Thrones, if you have any recommendations for things we should check out or improvements for the show, feel free to leave them in the comments of our SoundCloud page. If you want to help out the show, leaving ratings on our Stitcher and our iTunes page really help out a lot. If you want a place to hang out with us and just go ballistic about Game of Thrones, join our Discord server. We have dedicated channels for just discussions like that, or show improvements, nutjar offerings, and links to all of these pages can be found on our website, thosenerdscast.wixsite, wixsite.com/home. We also wanted to remind you that on May 17th through the 19th, the hosts of the Epic Film Guys podcast are going to be hosting their annual charity livestream for the cure. Their goal right now is to raise $7,500 for immunotherapy research, and they've teamed up with the Cancer Research Institute to do this. And in the previous years, the Cancer Research Institute also matched the total donations that were earned during the event. Me and Sal are going to be making a guest appearance on May 17th with our good friend Suspiria at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But we're also going to be like watching for the entirety of the stream. it really would mean a lot to us if you help like spread the word about this event, getting more people to watch, and donate. It's incredible, and it goes a long way toward a good cause. And if you listening right now are interested in donating, you can visit www.livestreamforthecure.com to go to their early donor page. And there's also merchandise. They have a t-shirt that I really like. It's kind of used that motif from the Las Vegas sign with the diamond and then the words inside.
Nice.
Yeah. And, and again, that's going to be on May 17th to the 19th on twitch.tv/epicfilmguys. Sal, do you got anything to plug?
All right. So you can find me on social media at Salzik on Twitter, at Mr. Salzik on Instagram. I also have a blog, www.gotamoment.com. I post a bunch of lyrical analysis, photography, random things there. I also stream with my good friend Suspiria on his channel, is Where is Suspiria? And I might be starting my own stream soon, so look out for that. You can get updates on my Twitter and stuff, so yeah.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at @arielize_. I don't post very much, but it's a good way to contact me or the show, so there's that. I want to thank my friend Martin again for submitting the question, and I want to thank listeners for your time. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.
Goodbye.
Valar morghulis.